Hello, it's John Foster RC here, and I've started my kit build of my SCA-1E kit, my 1981 Range Rover on my Carisma Scale Adventures chassis. This is a nice kit to start building. It's different from the Tamiyas, and I've started and done bags A, B and C. So on bag A, it's all about shock absorbers. So your steps 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Just wanted to point out that if you look carefully, here there's an O-ring and this collar. This O-ring actually fits inside a groove within the collar, and this collar acts as the pre-tensioning collar and actually screws onto the shock body. So it's a little bit misleading in the diagram, but just thought that I point this out. So this goes within the collar here, and this collar acts as the pre-tensioner collar on the shock body. So you end up with nice smooth shocks. As you can see here, I have 4 of them, and they're all very good. And they're all very nice and smooth. I'm quite happy with those. And just need to do the little final setup, pre-tensioning, and make sure the distance is correct. Then bag B is the differential assembly. You do 2 of these, and it does say in bag B that you need to add a little bit of thread lock on this collar here, and this collar fits inside this body, and you do 2 of those and you end up with 2 locked differential units, because this piece here is actually the locking mechanism. And then I went on to complete further bag C, and in bag C you've got 6 steps of bag C, and when you've completed bag C you end up with 2 of the axles, and they're identical at the moment at this stage, and you end up with 2 identical axles, and they are quite solid axles in fact. So your bearing output, and yeah, they look quite nice, very scale looking. Only thing I would say to beware, and it does mention in the manuals when you're building this, it does mention here, is just to make sure that you're being careful when you screw these screws through. And to be honest with you, this warning should really heed across all of these parts, because these are a nylon enforced plastic, and as you can see the screws do screw through, and they're good tight fit, but you just want to make sure that you don't over tighten them and strip those, because that will lead you with some real big problems, and you'll have to replace those parts. But other than that, this build has been fairly smooth, and no issues at all. So yeah, on to the next steps. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one. Hello there, this is John Foster RC here, and I'm continuing on with my build of my SCA-1E Range Rover, and today I've done steps D, bag D, and it's fairly straightforward. Little tricky area is this area here, putting the ring around here. That's quite a tricky area to do, but this focuses on the front axle, and the front axle will eventually look like this. So you have the front axle here and the steering rod attachment here, and as the servo, I'll just move my hand, as the servo moves, as you can see, it turns the wheels. Altogether, quite a nice fit and quite a complex joint here of these areas to get those areas right and get those links correct. But altogether, nice build and quite happy with these steps. No problems at all on this step. On to bag E. And this is bag E. Bag E is the rear axle assembly, slightly more simple to do than the front, and you eventually hand with this here. And again, so the axles, drive shafts have gone through, engaged in the center board if there, and this is all together, screwed together. Just pay a little bit of attention to these screws that screw into this nylon enforced plastic on both the rear and on the fronts. Very similar terms here. Just want to make sure you don't over tighten those and strip the threads out. Just be gentle with them. But other than that, very easy to do. So now have the front and the rears now done, and looks quite good. Quite happy with that. So I've been doing bag F, and bag F is the 4-link assembly, and you are assembling the rods and the ball links within those, and you have to get them correct widths within the within each of the ball links. So the manual, as it says here, it shows you that the front upper is 67.5 millimeters, the rear upper is 48.5 millimeters, and the front lower is 90 millimeters, and the rear lower is 71.5 millimeters. Pay attention as well to the metal links that go inside the ball joints. You have on the upper rear and upper front, you only have the metal in one side, and in the lower link arms you have these little metal ball links in both sides. So you end up with a finished product very similar to here. So this is the 90s, these are the 71.5s, these are the 67.5s, these are the upper links, and this is the 48.5s. Again, this is the upper links, and you can see that there's no metal ball links. There you are. And so that is bag F, all complete. On to the next. So I've now moved on to bag G. Bag G contains the front and rear drive shafts. These are actually pre-assembled by Carisma Scale Adventures, and the drive shafts typically look like this. The only thing is the actual drive shafts are actually assembled the wrong way round. So you've got a longer and a shorter, and at the ends here, I don't know if I can pick this out, maybe on a white background, be able to pick this out. You've got this protruding section here, and according to the drawing, this should be on the longer here, and I've actually moved these around. When you actually get these all pre-made, this end and this end are actually swapped over, so you physically have to take these apart, take the spring that holds the pins in place, and remove these sections. So you have to just gently move those. It takes about 10 minutes or so just to do, and you physically take these springs apart, take the pins out, move these two ends around so that they're correct. So you should have the protruding end on the main sort of barrel end, and yeah, you do that for both those, and that should work out. So I've done that. It takes about 10 minutes. A little bit inconvenient that they put it on the wrong way around, but hey, that's one of those things, easy to rectify. So it's now on to the next, which is bag H.